Welcome back to Coin Secrets Empire, where hidden treasure lives in your pocket. And today, we reveal the top 5 most valuable USA 1-cent wheat pennies that could turn a single coin into a fortune. Stay tuned, because number 1 will shock every collector alive right now. First up, imagine finding a simple 1-cent coin in your change jar that could be worth $5,000, $10,000, even more, just because of a minting mistake that slipped through. The United States Mint. Today, we are going deep into the story, the history, the errors, the values, and how you can identify a real 1955 wheat penny that collectors are desperately searching. Get ready, because this is the complete guide to the most wanted 1955 wheat penny, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to look for, how much it is worth, and why this coin is one of the most iconic error coins in American history. US start with a little history. Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it quickly became one of the most recognizable coins in America. The design shows Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat stalks on the back, which is why collectors call it the wheat penny. 1955, the wheat penny, had been in circulation for nearly half a century. Millions of them were produced every year, and most of them were completely normal common coins, worth just 1 cent. But in 1955, something incredible happened at the Philadelphia Mint. During the minting process, a mistake occurred that created one of the most famous error coins in history. The 1955 double die Oberseith's error happened when the die used to strike the coins was improperly created. The design was stamped twice at slightly different angles, causing a very noticeable doubling effect on the lettering and date. When these coins were struck, the doubling was clear, strong, and impossible to miss in a genuine 1955 doubled die penny. You can see clear doubling on the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date. 1955, the letters appear shifted and thicker, almost like a shadow effect, but it is not machine doubling. It is a true double die, which makes it extremely valuable. 20 to 24,000 of these error coins were released into circulation. Many were mixed into cigarette packs and distributed before the error was noticed, which is why some people actually found them in their pocket change back in the 1950s. Stat day. These coins are highly collectible. Lower circulated condition, a genuine 1955 double die wheat penny can be worth $1,000 to $2,000. In nice, extremely fine condition, it can reach $3,000 to $5,000. And in mint state grades, MS65 or higher, these coins have sold for $10,000 or more at auction, and that is for a 1-cent coin. But wait, there is more. Not every 1955 wheat penny is the famous doubled die. There are also regular 1955 pennies that are much more common, so you must know how to tell the difference. First, check the date. The doubling should be very bold and obvious. You should not need a microscope to see it. If the doubling is weak or only on one letter, it is likely machine doubling, which is far less valuable. Second, look at Liberty. The doubling on a true 1955 double die is strong and clear with distinct separation between the letters. Third, check In God We Trust. The doubling should be easy to see, especially on the word God. If you think you have one, do not clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value instantly. Always handle it carefully by the edges and consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authenticity. Let us talk about the regular 1955 wheat penny value. Philadelphia Mint produced over 33 million 1955 pennies. Denver produced over 500 million with a D Mint mark, and San Francisco produced over 44 million with an S Mint marka. Normal 1955p DORS wheat penny in circulated condition is worth around 3 to 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can range from $5 to $50, depending on grade and color, with red uncirculated coins being the most desirable, but none of them compare to the famous double die. This error has become a legend in the coin world. It is often called the King of Lincoln cent errors. Collectors dream of finding one in a roll of old pennies or in a grandparent's coin jar. There have been stories of people discovering a 1955 double die penny worth thousands while searching through bankrolls, which proves that treasure can still be found. If you are serious about hunting for this coin, here is what you should Do search through old wheat penny rolls, visit coin shops, check estate sales, and always examine the date carefully with good lighting. Also, be aware of counterfeits. Because this coin is so valuable, some people alter normal 1955 pennies to fake the doubling. Always compare with certified examples, and if you are unsure, get professional help. 1955. Wheat penny is more than just an error. It represents a moment in American history, a time when coins were still made of 95% copper, giving them a beautiful, rich, red-brown color that collectors love. Its composition is 95% copper and 5% tin, and zinc, and it weighs 3.11 grams, which is an important detail because any significant difference in weight could mean damage. Or a fake diameter is 19 millimeters with a plain edge, just like other wheat pennies of the era you enjoy coin collecting. The 1955 double die is a must-know coin, even if you never find one. Learning about it makes you a smarter collector. And remember, condition is everything. A coin with sharp details, strong luster, and no cleaning can be worth many times more than a worn example. So, check your change, check your collection, ask family members if they have old pennies stored away. You never know when you might discover a small copper treasure worth thousands. If you love USA old coins and valuable 1-cent wheat pennies, make sure you stay tuned because we cover the most wanted coins that could be hiding in plain sight. 1955 wheat penny is proof that even the smallest coin can hold massive value and an incredible story. Most people have no idea that a tiny brown 1-cent wheat penny sitting forgotten in an old drawer or a dusty coin jar could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. And today, we are talking about one of the most searched and most wanted old USA coins ever, the 1956 1-cent wheat penny. This is not clickbait, this is real history, real money, and real coins that collectors are desperately hunting for right now. Imagine finding a simple penny that looks ordinary at first glance, but once you know what to look for, it suddenly becomes a life-changing discovery. This video is for collectors, beginners, treasure hunters, and everyday people who want to know if the change in their pocket could secretly be a jackpot. So stay with me until the end, because what you learn today could completely change how you look at pennies forever. The 1956 wheat penny is one of those coins that millions of people have handled, but very few truly understand and hidden. Among normal common examples are rare errors, rare conditions, and special varieties that can turn a 1-cent coin into a serious collector's prize. This coin comes from the final years of the legendary wheat penny era, a design that represents American history, strength, and survival. And when you combine that history with rarity, condition, and minting mistakes, you get one of the most exciting pennies to search for in modern coin collecting history. We dive into values. Let us travel back in time to the year 1956. America was booming. The post-war economy was strong. Cars, televisions, and new homes were everywhere. And while people were spending money and building the future, the United States Mint was quietly producing millions of wheat pennies made mostly of copper, each one carrying the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat ears on the back, a design that had been in use since 1909 and would soon come to an end just 2 years later, making the 1956 wheat penny part of the final chapter of an iconic American coin series, and that alone already gives it historical importance. 1956 wheat penny was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And this is where things start to get interesting, because not all 1956 wheat pennies are created equal. Some are extremely common and worth just a few cents, while others, depending on mint mark condition and errors, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And the biggest mistake people make is assuming all old pennies are the same. They are not. And the difference between a common coin and a rare one often comes down to tiny details that most people overlook. Imagine this scenario. You are going through an old jar of coins left behind by a parent or grandparent. You see a brown penny with wheat stalks on the back, and the date says 1956. Most people would toss it aside without a second thought. But what if that penny has a rare mint error? What if it was struck on the wrong planchette? What if it has a double die or an off-center strike? What if it is in near-perfect, uncirculated condition? These are the details that separate a 1-cent coin from a collector's dream, and in this video, we are going to break it all down slowly, clearly, and in a way that anyone can understand, and this is just the beginning, because as we move deeper into this video, you will learn how to identify the most valuable 1956 wheat pennies, how much they are selling for right now, what collectors look for, and how you can check your own coins at home without expensive equipment. You will also learn why some 1956 wheat pennies sell for less than $1, while others sell for prices that shock even experienced collectors, so make sure you watch closely. Listen carefully and do not skip, because every section builds on the last, and missing one detail could mean missing out on real Menino. Let us go deeper into what truly makes the 1956 wheat penny so important, and why collectors all over the United States and around the world continue to hunt for it every single day. The first thing you must understand is mint marks, because the tiny letter below the date can completely change the value of the coin. The 1956 wheat penny was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each mint tells a different story with different rarity levels. And collector demand, the Philadelphia Mint produced the highest number of coins, and these coins have no mint mark. And all this means, if you see a 1956 penny with no letter under the date it was made in Philadelphia, and while most of these are common and circulated, condition high-grade examples can still be valuable, especially if they have strong luster and sharp details. Then we have the 1956 wheat penny produced at the Denver Mint, and this version is one of the most searched by collectors, because many examples were heavily circulated, and finding one in high-grade condition is much harder than people think. The Denver Mint focused on mass production, and many coins left the mint with weaker strikes, especially on Lincoln's hair. And the wheat stalks on the reverse, which means a fully struck example, stands out immediately to a trained eye. And collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that show full details. Now comes the 1956 wheat penny from the San Francisco Mint. And this is where excitement really starts to build, because San Francisco wheat pennies are known for lower mintages and higher collector demand. The 1956 penny is often found with softer strikes and dull surfaces, which again makes high quality examples rare, and when one surfaces in brilliant, uncirculated condition, it quickly becomes the center of attention at auctions and private sales. But mint marks alone are not enough. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting, and this is where many people unknowingly lose money, because they clean their coins or misjudge their condition. A circulated 1956 wheat penny that has been used in everyday transactions may only be worth a few cents, but an uncirculated coin that still has original mint luster, sharp rims, and no wear can be worth many times more, and if that coin has never been cleaned, scratched, or damaged, its value increases even further. Collectors look closely at Lincoln's cheek, jawline, hair details, and the wheat ears on the back, because these areas show wear first, and the more detail that remains, the higher the grade and the higher the volume. Let us talk about errors, because this is the part that turns an ordinary penny into a treasure. And the 1956 wheat penny is known for several collectible mint errors that can be worth serious money. One of the most famous is the off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned on the coin. Some off-center strikes show missing letters or parts of Lincoln's portrait, and the more dramatic the offset, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date is still visible. Another exciting error is the double die, where parts of the lettering or numbers appear doubled due to a misaligned die during the minting process. Collectors carefully inspect the date, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust," because doubling in these areas can mean a major premium. Another rare and valuable error involves clipped planchettes, where a piece of the coin is missing due to a metal cutting mistake before the coin was struck. These coins look unusual and immediately catch the eye, and because errors like this were never meant to leave the mint, they are highly collectible and often sell for far more than normal examples. And then there are wrong planchette errors, where a 1956 wheat penny was struck on the wrong metal blank, creating a coin with a different color, weight, and thickness. These are extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Makes all of this even more exciting is that many of these valuable coins are still out there, hidden in old collections, piggy banks, estate sales, and inherited coin jars. People often do not realize what they have, and that is why videos like this matter, because knowledge is what separates the person who spends a rare penny from the person who sells it for a premium and changes their financial situation. we move forward in this video, we are going to talk about real-world prices, real auction results, and what collectors are paying right. Now, for top-grade and error 1956 wheat pennies, we will also explain how you can safely check your coins at home using simple tools and what mistakes to avoid, so you do not accidentally destroy the value of a potentially rare coin. This journey into the world of the 1956 wheat penny is only getting started, and the deeper we go, the more surprising the discoveries become. Imagine opening an old dusty drawer that has not been touched for decades. Your fingers brush against a small brown coin that looks ordinary, forgotten, and worthless. Or so you think, because what if that 1-cent wheat penny dated 1953 is not just pocket change, but a hidden American treasure worth hundreds, thousands, or even life-changing money today? This is not a joke. This is not clickbait. This is real history, real value, and real coins that collectors are hunting right now all across the United States and around the world. Welcome back to the channel, where old coins turn into big money and everyday people discover shocking value in the smallest places. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most searched and most wanted USA old coins, the 1953 wheat penny coin. Many people still have sitting in jars, boxes, and inherited collections without any idea of what it could be worth, and by the end of this video, you will never look at a 1-cent coin the same way again. The 1953 wheat penny was born in a powerful era of American history, a time of post-war growth, Cold War tension, and massive change across the nation. Change across the nation struck with Lincoln's iconic portrait on the front and the famous wheat ears on the back. This penny carries more than copper. It carries a story, and within that story are rare mint marks, error varieties, and condition-based values that separate a common cent from a collector's dream. Some 1953 wheat pennies are worth just a few cents, while others have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, depending on where they were made, how they were struck, and what mistakes the U.S. Mint accidentally left behind. And here is the crazy part: many of these valuable pennies were never pulled from circulation. They were spent at grocery stores, dropped on sidewalks, and tossed into coffee cans just like any other penny. Which means there is still a chance that you or someone you know could find one today. In this video, we are going to break down every single detail you need to know the different mint marks, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, what makes one 1953 wheat penny rare and another common, the errors that collectors pay insane money for, the grading secrets that multiply value, and real auction stories that prove this coin is no joke. So sit back, stay focused, and watch this entire video, because missing even one detail could cost you thousands. And if you enjoy learning how ordinary coins can turn into extraordinary money, make sure you stay with us until the end, because the most shocking value reveal is coming up and you do not want to miss it. No? Let us go deeper into why the 1953 wheat penny has become one of the most wanted USA old coins among serious collectors and everyday treasure hunters alike. Because value is not magic. It is created by rarity, condition, demand, and history, and the 1953 wheat penny checks every single one of those boxes in different ways depending on the version of the coin you are holding. First, you need to understand that in 1953, the United States Mint produced wheat pennies at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each mint left a unique fingerprint on the coined pennies struck in Philadelphia. Carry no mint mark at all. Pennies from Denver show a small D under the date, and pennies from San Francisco carry an SN. And that tiny letter can mean the difference between a coin worth a few cents and one worth serious money, especially when combined with condition and errors. The Philadelphia Mint produced the highest number of pennies in 1953, which makes most no mint mark examples common in worn condition. But do not get comfortable, because when these same coins are found in high mint state, condition, untouched surfaces, full original luster, sharp details, collectors are willing to pay strong premiums. Because finding a 70-year-old coin in that kind of shape is not easy at all, then we move to the 1953 wheat penny struck in Denver. And this is where things start to heat up, because Denver coins are known for weaker strikes, which means a perfectly struck example is much harder to find. Collectors pay close attention to the wheat lines on the reverse and Lincoln's jaw and coat on the obverse, and when those details are fully visible, the value climbs fast. And then comes The 1953 S wheat penny from San Francisco, a mint famous for lower mintages and tougher quality control, which resulted in fewer high-grade survivors today. And that scarcity pushes demand through the roof when collectors compete for top examples. But mint marks alone are only the beginning, because the real excitement starts when we talk about era coins. And this is where people's lives have literally changed. From a single penny era coins happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, and in 1953, the U.S. Mint was far from perfect off-center strikes. Doubled dies, repunched mint marks die, cracks, cuds, clipped planchettes, and weak strikes all exist for the 1953 wheat penny, and each one adds a new layer of value. Imagine holding a 1953 wheat penny where the date appears doubled, or the letters in Liberty look like they are shadowed. This could be a double die variety, and collectors pay huge money for authentic examples. Or imagine a penny struck so far off center that part of the design is missing yet the date is still visible. Those coins are rare, dramatic, and extremely desirable. Then there are die cracks, long raised lines running across the surface of the coin caused by broken dies at the mint, and while small cracks add modest value, massive cracks and retained cuds can turn an ordinary penny into a standout collectible. And the wild thing is, many people mistake these errors for damage and spend them without ever knowing what they had. Condition is the silent killer and the silent jackpot at the same time, because two pennies with the same date and mint mark can have values that are worlds apart. A worn 1953 wheat penny that has spent decades in circulation might be worth only a few cents, but a mint state example, professionally graded, can bring hundreds, and in top condition. Even more grading companies like PCGs and NGC use a scale from poor to mint state 70, and every single point higher on that scale increases value. Dramatically original red color on a copper penny is especially important. Collectors love bright red pennies that look like they were struck yesterday, and finding a 1953 wheat penny with full red surfaces is extremely difficult, which is why auction prices can explode when one a person. Let us talk real money, real sales, and real proof, because this is not just theory verified. Auction records show high grade 1953 wheat pennies selling for hundreds of dollars, and rare error varieties selling for much more. Collectors compete fiercely because these coins are not being made anymore, and every year more are lost, damaged, or destroyed, which increases scarcity. Over time, demand keeps rising as new collectors enter the hobby searching for classic, affordable American coins, and the wheat penny series is one of the most loved of all time, making the 1953 wheat penny a permanent target in the coin market. This is why you need to check every penny, every jar, every inherited collection, every old wallet, and every forgotten box, because the next valuable 1953 wheat penny could be sitting a few feet away from you right now, waiting to be discovered. Coin hunters, history lovers, and serious collectors, this is not a normal video. This is not hype. This is not fantasy. This is real United States history hiding in plain sight, in your pocket, in your drawer, in old jars and forgotten boxes. Today, we are talking about one of the most searched, most wanted, and misunderstood old American coins, the 1-cent wheat penny from 1950. 7. A coin that millions of people have held without knowing what they had. A coin that looks simple but carries secrets, errors, varieties, mint stories, and collector demand that still shock people to this day. If you think a penny is just a penny, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at small copper coins the same way again. The 1957 wheat penny was born in a time when America was changing fast. The post-war economy was booming, television was entering homes, highways were expanding, and the Cold War was shaping the future, and right there in the middle of all that change, the United States Mint was striking 1-cent coins with Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat ears on the back, a design that had already become iconic and historic long before 1957 even arrived. This penny was not meant to be special. It was meant to be used, spent, dropped, saved, and forgotten, and that is exactly why it matters today, because the most valuable coins are often the ones nobody cared about at the time. The 1957 wheat penny represents the final chapter of the wheat cent era. Only 1 year later, the reverse design would change forever to the Lincoln Memorial making. 1957, one of the last chances collectors had to get a classic wheat design straight from Circulation, and that alone makes this coin a magnet for collectors, beginners, and serious investors alike, but the real story goes much deeper than just design. This year produced millions of coins across different mints, including Philadelphia and Denver, and while most are common, some are anything but common. Certain strikes, certain errors, certain conditions, and certain metal characteristics have turned ordinary-looking pennies into coins worth serious money. We are talking about coins that sell for tens, hundreds, and even thousands of dollars, depending on what you know and what you find. Imagine that a single cent from 1957 could pay a month of rent, or buy a car, or fund a collection, just because of a tiny detail almost. Nobody sees at first glance. That is why this video exists, to slow down, to look closer, and to understand why the 1957 wheat penny is still hunted today by roll searchers, estate buyers, metal detector users, and professional numismatists. Across the United States and beyond, people are still opening old rolls, still checking grandparent collections, still digging through bank boxes hoping to spot that one special example, because history tells us that they are still out there. And when you understand the minting process of 1957, you start to see why mistakes happened in the United States. Mint was producing massive quantities of coins at high-speed. Quality control existed, but it was not perfect. Planchettes were fed, dies were clashing, strikes were weak, or doubled metal flowed in unexpected ways, and every once in a while a coin slipped through. That was different, and different is everything in the world of coin collecting. The 1957 wheat penny can appear normal at first, but under magnification you may see doubling on the date or letters. You may see off-center strikes, you may see die cracks, cuds, or unusual surface textures, and those details separate face value from collector value. And the collectors know it. That is why auction records matter, that is why grading matters, and that is why condition matters more than most people realize. A worn-down 1957 wheat penny may only be worth a few cents, but a sharp red, uncirculated example with full detail and original luster can be worth many times more, and when you add rare errors or top population grades, the price jumps fast. And this is not theory. This is documented sales, real money, real buyers, real demand. The story of the 1957 wheat penny is also a story of survival. Copper coins were melted, hoarded, spent overseas, lost in time. Yet millions survived, and among them are gems waiting to be identified, and that is why this coin is considered most wanted, not because every example is valuable, but because the potential is there, and the hunt is real. Collectors dream of finding a high-grade 1957 wheat penny in original rolls, untouched since the Eisenhower era, and that dream still comes true more often than people think, especially when families open old collections that sat quietly for decades without anyone realizing what they had. And as we go deeper into this video, we will break down mint marks varieties, known errors, value ranges, grading tips, and how to spot the difference between a common penny and a sleeper coin that could change everything. This is not about hype. This is about knowledge, because knowledge is what turns pocket change into history, and history into value. So stay with me, take your time, and if you have a 1957 wheat penny nearby, now is the moment to pick it up. Look at it closely and understand that you may be holding a small piece of American history that the rest of the world is still searching for. Most wanted USA old coins, valuable 1-cent wheat penny 1958. This is not clickbait. This is not a joke, and this is not another boring coin video. This is the real story of a simple copper penny that millions of Americans once ignored, spent, or lost without a second thought, and today collectors are paying attention like never before. Because the 1958 wheat penny is more than just loose change. It is the final chapter of a legendary coin series, the last wheat penny ever made in the United States, and that alone gives it historical power, emotional value, and serious collector demand. Imagine holding the last breath of an era in the palm of your hand, a small brown coin that passed through diners, gas stations, school lunch lines, and factory floors during a time when America was changing fast. This penny witnessed the end of the wheat reverse design that had been used since 1909, and after 1958 it was gone forever, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. And that makes the 1958 wheat penny special by default, because collectors love endings as much as beginnings, and when you mix history, scarcity condition, rarity, mint errors, and collector psychology, you get a coin that deserves real attention. So if you have ever wondered whether a single penny could be worth serious money, or if you have a jar of old coins sitting somewhere, In your home, this video could change the way you look at every single cent you will ever touch. Again, because by the end of this video, you will understand why the 1958 wheat penny is one of the most wanted USA old coins in the 1 cent category, and why some examples sell for far more than people expect. Now let's go back in time and set the scene. The year is 1958, Dwight D. Eisenhower is president. Rock and roll is exploding, televisions are entering, American homes, highways are expanding, and the United States Mint is preparing to say goodbye to a design that has been part of American life for nearly 50 years. The wheat penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, had survived world wars, economic crashes, and massive social change, and now the final wheat penny was about to roll off the presses. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint struck millions of these coins, and at the time, nobody cared. They were just pennies, used for candy, newspapers, and parking meters. But today, collectors look back and realize something important. The last year of a classic design often becomes a key collectible, especially when high-grade examples are hard to find. And this is exactly what happened with the 1958 wheat penny. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, meaning they were scratched, worn, dull, and damaged, and that means clean, sharp. Well-preserved examples are far scarcer than mintage numbers suggest, and scarcity is everything in coin collecting. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1958 wheat penny valuable. First is condition. A worn example you find in pocket change might be worth a few cents over face value, but a strong, uncirculated coin with original red copper color, clean fields, and sharp wheat lines can be worth many times more. Collectors pay premiums for coins that look as close to mint condition as possible, and because 1958 pennies were used heavily, very few survived in top condition. Second is mint mark. The 1958 wheat penny was struck at Philadelphia with no mint mark, and at Denver with a small D below the date. While both are collectible, certain high-grade examples from each mint can bring different prices, depending on demand, population reports, and auction results. Third, and this is where things get exciting, error coins. Some 1958 wheat pennies were struck with errors and mint mistakes, and these are the coins that can be worth serious money. Doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, and die cracks are all possibilities, and collectors pay big premiums for confirmed authentic errors, especially when they are dramatic and easy to see with the naked eye. Imagine finding a penny where the date or lettering appears doubled, or shifted, or missing part of the edge. These coins are real, they exist, and they sell, and the thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors searching through rolls, jars, and old collections every single day. Now let's slow down and really appreciate the design of the 1958 wheat penny. On the obverse, you see Abraham Lincoln facing right, strong, dignified, timeless, with the words "In God We Trust," liberty, and the date, 1958, and on the reverse, 2 wheat stalks, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above the wheat. This design symbolized America agriculture, strength, and unity. And when it ended in 1958, it marked a cultural shift toward a more modern, memorial-focused design, and many collectors prefer the warmth and simplicity of the wheat reverse over later designs, which keeps demand strong even decades later. Now, here is something many people do not realize. Not all 1958 wheat pennies are equal copper, quality, color, and strike matter, red-brown, and red-brown color classifications dramatically affect value. A full red example with blazing original mint luster can sell for many times more than a brown circulated coin, and certified grading by professional services can push prices even higher because collectors trust third-party grading and are willing to pay premiums for authenticated, encapsulated examples. And when 2 collectors compete in an auction, prices can jump fast, sometimes shocking people who thought pennies were worthless. And this is why videos like this matter, because knowledge turns overlooked change into potential treasure, and we are only getting started in this video. We will break down exact values, real auction examples, how to spot errors, how to tell if your coin has been cleaned, which hurts value, and how to safely store and sell your coins the right way. So stay with me, because the deeper we go, the more fascinating the story of the 1958 wheat penny becomes, and the more likely you are to see pennies differently forever.